What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. I'm going to give you my top 5 reasons that I am pro UBI. Let's start with the what first. What does UBI stand for? Universal Basic Income. Recently made popular by one Andrew Yang.
What is universal basic income? UBI is an idea that centers around the government giving periodic cash payments to individuals in a population, essentially free money.
So Andrew Yang learned from Scott Santens, who has been my mentor for some years now. I was studying UBI because as a teacher I always wanted to make everything work for everybody. So with UBI, with $1,000 a month for every American citizen beginning at age 18, that would completely change our economy.
In that video, you might have heard the phrase free money. As we all know, nothing in life is free. There's no such thing as free money. Someone has to pay for it. Someone has to give something to society that's worth something, so they get compensated for it, and people pay taxes on that. And that's where the government gets the vast majority of their revenue, is through taxes. I want to make it clear, this UBI is not a stimulus package. The stimulus package is printing money, which is completely different than reallocating money. So I'm going to do a separate video getting into the details of what I would propose and what different people have proposed. But I'll give you an example. The UBI I'm proposing, that would destroy, it would take away most all social safety programs from the government. Welfare, Section 8, Social Security, all that, food stamps, all of that stuff would be dissolved, and that money would be reallocated. So there will be, just like any change, would be winners and losers. Let me get to the top 5. Top 5 reasons why I am for UBI. Number 5, flexibility. It's going to be important in the job market going forward that contractors, gig employees, or any worker has a little bit of a safety net. UBI is not going to let you live comfortably just on that monthly payment, but it's something that will help you fall back on. So every citizen would get it. So if it's $1,000 a month and it's a family of 3, you would get $3,000 a month. That is enough for many people to help them through difficult times. There would be no unemployment. Remember, those social safety nets gone. But you would be getting $3,000 a month, so you wouldn't need them. If someone is proposing to keep the social safety nets that we have and on top of it to do UBI, I'm out. That's not what I'm doing here. So it would give you that flexibility to leave a bad job, to be a contractor, to be an Uber driver part-time. You could do a part-time job anywhere you'd want because you would have that salary to fall back on. You wouldn't be as quick to take an awful job just to pay the bills. Number 4, it would protect us against the situation that we just had over the past 13 months or so, last year or so, where the job market fell off a cliff. And then what did we do as a country? We are going to be creating inflation, probably hyperinflation, and it's very damaging. We weren't ready for this because we didn't have a UBI in place already. If you have a UBI in place, you just keep the UBI. There's no need to do any type of huge printing money for stimulus or anything like that. If the government did decide to do that, it would have been a much trimmed down, smaller type of thing. And the job market falling off the cliff is not just for health reasons. That could be because of AI and the increase of automation and robots. That will cause the job market to fall off the cliff potentially. It's whatever causes the job market to fall off the cliff, people have something to fall back on. Number 3, it simplifies, because we're getting rid of all these government social safety nets. It simplifies the red tape. We've got too much. The government is not just distributing the money, it's spending too much money and inefficiency in the process, in the rules, in the regulations. Have you seen some of the rules and regulations and documents and things you have to fill out to qualify for some of these social safety nets? It's a lot. And this would take all of that out, gone. Do you just get a check per month and that's it? And the government can do that. We shown through the stimulus, the government can do that. You can see we're heading towards a UBI already. Number two reason that I am for the UBI is it is an incentive, albeit a small one, especially at first, because it won't start out at $2,000 a month. Probably would be $1,000 or less per month to start, depending on which social safety programs you destroyed. So it's in a small way, at least at first, it gives people an incentive to stay out of prison. It gives people an incentive to become a citizen. A legal immigrant, under my proposal, if you are not an American citizen, you would not get the UBI. If you are in prison, you would not get those monthly payments. So it's a way to incentivize at least being an American citizen. And you could say rewarding someone for being an American citizen in good standing. The number one reason I'm for UBI, and I've never heard anyone say this, and I'm not an economist, so take it with a grain of salt. And I'll if you are knowledgeable on the economy, tell me if I'm off base here. But I think a UBI is the only solution that I have heard to solving our homeless problem. The homeless problem in our country is a travesty. It is something that we have to get a hold of because it is completely out of control. With a UBI, because currently a homeless person, there are social programs that we talked about, like welfare, food stamps, Section 8. Very difficult for to get many homeless people to on the track to where they would be going through the red tape, going through the social worker, applying for these things. For welfare, sometimes it's only limited time frame, limited money. It's nowhere near like $1,000 a month. I think UBI is the solution to homelessness. When you have a UBI, someone who is homeless, if the UBI gets high enough to be able to pay rent, you can get to somewhere. Or you can group together with 4 people, say it's $1,000 a month, you got $4,000 a month, you can get somewhere to stay and sleep. It's not going to be great. It's going to be in a crappy town and city, but there's no excuse at that point to be homeless. So there is always going to be, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful, but we have to be honest to talk about this. And it was only for a week when I was sleeping in my car. Luckily, I got a job as a bell attendant, made some cash, got a place to stay. But so this is not coming from a bad place of intention, but homelessness and people who are checked out, they are the byproduct, they are the waste product of our society and capitalism. Not saying not them as human beings, from an economic standpoint, from a money standpoint. If they don't have any money and they're homeless and you're on the street and maybe you're taking a little bit of money that you get, flipping the food stamps or whatever into drugs and you're sleeping in the tent. Number one, I'm hoping that we can help you out, do something. But that economically, not as a person, but financially, from a capitalist standpoint, they are the waste byproduct. There always will be a waste byproduct, always. But it makes it clearer who is checked out. Because if you're checked out, sleeping in the park, or wherever the case may be, in California, a little while back, they came in to try to clear out the parks. I love Sanford. San Francisco is one of the most beautiful and one of my favorite places to visit in the U.S. And the homeless problem it's just gone to the point where it's like, I wouldn't even want to go. I don't even want to visit there. San Francisco, San Diego, it's bad. And now with the UBI, you can have social workers, homeless centers that are geared towards all you need to do is get that check, and we need to get you out of the city because you're not going to get rent for UBI in San Francisco. So you can't be there. You can go to a different city, get rent, get with somebody, or whatever the case may be. A lot simpler, a lot more simple than the process is now. For those who still don't do that, mental issues, whatever the case may be, UBI doesn't solve that, but they will have to get taken to mental facilities or to prisons. I don't know. This is not to discuss what to do with that. That's a whole different topic. But with that UBI floor, there's no excuse, and we know who's checked in, who's checked out, and we can go in. I think the police can go in, clear out a park, or social workers, nonprofits, volunteers, clear people out of the parks. They shouldn't be on the beach. They shouldn't be outside storefronts doing fentanyl and all this other stuff. They can be taken off, and we have a clear path, easy path to getting money per month where you can, if you want to do drugs, you have a place to do it. So let me know what you think. Those are my top 5 reasons why I'm pro UBI. Thanks a lot for listening. Appreciate it.